Let's talk the new 10th generation iPad. I'm just kidding, this doesn't actually work. Yeah, 10th generation iPad. I've been using it for about a week, and if you recall the unboxing, I had a yellow color. I liked it, but I thought it was too much, so I ended up swapping it out for boring silver. I don't know what's wrong with me. Honestly, I complain about Apple never giving us color options, and then I end up picking the most boring colors anyways. But I just thought this really looked nice, and I thought the yellow was way too in your face after a couple of days of using it, and just kind of wanted something a little more, professional, even though this is not a pro iPad, this is just an iPad, and there's a lot to talk about with just this iPad, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so the obvious stuff here is the design, and I really do hate talking about the design and what new things, but it is new. What you're expecting to see from a normal plain old iPad has been completely redesigned to the normal, what's the new normal now with iPads, and that's just this design. You have no more home button. In some instances, you get a Touch ID power button, which is the case with this particular iPad. And you get, kind of that squared off design, very reminiscent of an iPhone. And depending on, again, which iPad you have, you'll have a pin connector for a keyboard, and that could be either on the back, or in this case, it's right here for the Magic Keyboard Folio, which we'll talk about again very shortly. But I did also do a full video on it, so if you want to see it, you can click the link here in the top right corner. So while I do hate talking about the design, it is worth mentioning that this is a completely redesigned iPad, and there are a couple of features that are actually pretty cool with this redesign. Apple moved the FaceTime camera, which is usually hey, I'm holding it like a book, and hello everyone. And if you had it in your landscape mode docked on a keyboard folio, for example, you'd be looking at people right here. And that's weird. It's just weird. I don't know why it's taken this long to move the camera right here, which is now right there in landscape. So if you're walking around holding it, you can look at the iPad, and it actually might look like you're making eye contact with somebody. Or if you have it docked, you're not looking at off to the left-hand side here. You're actually looking at it, and again, it looks like you're making eye contact with the person you're having a FaceTime call with. So that is pretty cool. Again, there are a bunch of new colors. There's yellow, blue, pink, and this silver. And the only other thing that I do want to point out about this design is that this is the cheaper, quote unquote, entry-level iPad, and so it has a worse display, but I don't know that it's really that bad. It's not laminated, and so it doesn't, basically there's a little gap in between the actual display and the glass itself, and you can tell for sure when looking at this iPad, and then going to look at an iPad Pro, you can definitely see the display quality is better on those iPads, but I don't know that if you're looking at this particular iPad without comparing it to another one, that you would really have an issue with it. It's a 10.9-inch display. I think it looks good. It's definitely doable for reading and watching movies and getting any kind of work done, gaming with Apple Arcade. I mean, it's really just a really good iPad. Let's just put it like how it is. This is a very good iPad. The one thing I don't understand is the price point, which we'll talk about in a minute. I don't understand the Apple Pencil integration, and I don't understand why Apple created a Magic Keyboard Folio. That's actually really cool and something that people who have an iPad Pro might actually want to buy, but can't because it only exists for this iPad. So let's talk real quick about these four things. And the fourth thing is that the landscape camera. I mentioned it earlier, but it's actually really cool and something that I, again, wish was on all the other iPads. Apple moved the moved the camera, the FaceTime camera, to this landscape orientation so that when you're holding it up like this, you can have a FaceTime call and you can actually look at the screen, and everything just kind of feels like, a normal interaction with someone. You're not off looking to the side. Also, with this camera, you do get center stage. So if you're moving around or if you're docking it on your kitchen somewhere and you want to get some other things done, it'll kind of use that ultra wide camera to be able to follow you around wherever you might be going within reason. If you get too far out of the frame, then obviously it can't fully follow you around your house, but it's very useful. And I just really wish there was a way to get this on an iPad Pro. One of the biggest devices that you certainly could use a landscape camera on does not have it. And that brings us to feature number 2 that's worth talking about, and that's Apple Pencil support. And why does that bring us together? Well, this iPad uses the first generation Apple Pencil, which does not dock up here. And the second generation does, which is why I believe you could not get a landscape camera on an iPad Pro, because you would probably get in the way of that mechanism. So I guess that's the only good thing I can say about this iPad using the first generation Apple Pencil, is that it allows us to have the camera there. And that's it. This iPad uses the first generation Apple Pencil, and it's terrible. I mean, the pencil is fine, it's a good experience, but everything else around it is terrible. When you're, especially when you're really used to using, the dock and charge / dock and pair feature that comes with the Apple Pencil 2. You have that little double tap here to be able to switch between tools and the eraser and all that. I just think it feels better. And also, the elephant in the room, you have the lightning charger, which you're like, okay, well, what's the big deal? Well, if you've been living under a rock, then you wouldn't know that this iPad also, in that design change to fit more in line with all the other iPads, now takes USB-C. And what is this? This is lightning. So you need this guy. This is, here, I'll show you in this camera. This is the USB-C to Apple Pencil adapter. Okay, that's fine. It's $9. The biggest thing is that you can't find one. I ordered this at the same time when the iPads were announced, and I'm just now getting it. It's back ordered still a few more weeks if you wanted to order it now. So what you would need to do is plug it into this adapter, and then, this isn't a male portion. So you need a USB-C cable, and you connect it to the female part of the adapter, and then you take this long cord, and what are we doing here? What am I doing? I look ridiculous, but here you go. This is how you plug it in, and this is how you charge it, and this is how you pair it. And yeah, so if you're looking at this whole thing and thinking, this is what I want, well, this is what you get. So yeah, I mean, that's the Apple Pencil 1. We're very familiar with it. It's been out for years. Perhaps I am being too harsh because, as I said before, even though it doesn't quite feel as nice or is as nice as the second generation, it's still very viable, still has really good low latency. You still have some pretty good pressure sensitivity and can kind of, get done what you need to get done. So yeah, I mean, if you want to make some abstract art like I'm making, I'm putting art in quotes, which you just can't see it, but you can do whatever you want to do with the Apple Pencil. You can still take notes and make ridiculous creations like what I'm doing right here. And it's definitely viable, especially for an entry-level iPad. I just don't like it. But again, we'll move on. It's at least an option for you. The next thing that I do really like that is only exclusive to this iPad, and again, we've talked about it before, is the Magic Keyboard Folio. And I will be brief about it because there is a whole video you can check out right here if you want to about this folio, but it comes in 2 pieces, and some people are gonna love or hate this part, but this part is my favorite. So this is the back portion, and you actually can connect it like this. It's all magnetic and it just kind of smacks on there. And then right here is the kickstand. And as you can see here, you can get very Microsoft Surface-esque about it, and you can adjust the height and the angle of how you want to do this. And there you go. You can use your iPad on your desk and normally watch some videos, browse the web, however you want to do it. And then the best part is you get this other piece here, which is your Magic Keyboard part of the folio. And it connects via those 3 pins, which are right here and on the bottom of your iPad. So just magnetically connects. And there you go. Now you have the ability to do whatever you want to do. If you want to go to macrumors.com, a fantastic website that I highly recommend you check out, you can, and you have a great trackpad. It feels really nice. I believe it's a little bit bigger than the iPad Pro trackpad. The keys feel good. The weirdest thing about this is it has a full-on function row, which you don't even get with the Magic Keyboard that you have for the iPad Pro and the iPad Air. So I mean, it's just wild. That function row gives you the ability to adjust the brightness, something that I wish you can do on the iPad Pro. You can jump into multitasking, your spotlight search, dictation, turn on do not disturb. You got your media controls, and you can lock your iPad, which when I initially tried this, it didn't work, and someone in the comments graciously pointed out that you have to hold it so that you're not accidentally pressing this all the time. But that's cool. So you can hold it and you can turn it on or lock your iPad. Also, one quick thing that I do want to talk about. I like the Touch ID, but I really wish that all iPads would just go to Face ID or especially iPads that offer this ability to like work in a landscape mode and have your keyboard, because I really don't want to keep doing this. I just want to hit space and have it unlock from the FaceTime camera and just be able to go into it. It's not that big of a deal, but it is kind of a little bit of a hassle to just have to like go up here and unlock. I'm nitpicking. You know, it's great when you're holding it as a tablet, and it does work really well, but I just kind of wish FaceTime was throughout the whole iPad lineup. So overall, this is a fantastic iPad. It's obviously capable of doing anything that you want to do with a tablet, anything that you would normally do with an iPad. If you have kids, get a good case, but this is going to be great for them to get schoolwork done, watch content, browse the web, talk to their friends. You know, if they are, college students, they could definitely utilize this in class, especially with this keyboard. Highly recommend getting this Folio. And they'll be able to do everything that they can do on a laptop. A lot of the basic functions, you can do this on an iPad. If you need something a little bit more, the M1 iPad Air or M2 iPad Pro, I don't know, I just don't think iPadOS fully utilizes the hardware, but that performance capability is up there. If you're doing a lot of graphic or, CPU intensive tasks on an iPad, then I guess go for it. But this is definitely a great iPad for the everyday person. But so is the iPad Air. And so here's where we get into the price point. This is $449 for 64 gigs. If you want 128 gigs, it's $599. That's quite a big jump. Then you're thinking, well, maybe I should just get the iPad Air. That's $499, but that's only 64 gigs. And then if you want to jump up to different, storage options, you're starting to get up into the 700s. And then you're thinking, well, why not just get an iPad Pro? You start with higher end storage and you get much better display. You get ProMotion with that display. You get better performance with the M1 or M2, depending on which you go with. So yeah, it's a very convoluted lineup that I still don't necessarily understand. At the end of the day, if you're looking at the base model $449 version of this iPad and you're thinking about getting it, the 9th generation, which has the old design with the home button and everything, is still available. I would just say save your money and go with that one. But if you want to get into this design level and you want to get into a little bit more and get a keyboard attachment and an Apple Pencil, the iPad Air just seems like the better option, especially when you're going to be spending $250 for this keyboard Folio. You might as well spend $299 and get the better Magic Keyboard. And yeah, I mean, you can see where I'm going. It's just a way of creeping and creeping and creeping up until you're basically at an iPad Pro, which at that point you might as well just go MacBook. And then it's just, you just keep going up. So my recommendation is if you're torn between an iPad or an iPad Air, go with the iPad Air. But if you end up, saying, I'm just gonna do this one, I've got a good deal on it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. This is still a very good iPad in every sense of the word. It's very powerful. The A14 chip is really good, very fast. And yeah, I mean, it's got a cool design and it's got some cool features that not a lot of other iPads have. No other iPads have the landscape camera. And so that's just something to keep in mind if you're looking at this. But I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Are you going with this iPad? Do you have this iPad? Do you love it? Let me know down in those comments. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.